Adding advanced grading tool to any activity in Moodle. After adding any activity in your course, in the settings page of that activity, define the title, description, and any other settings related to the kind of activity. And let's turn editing on. Add an activity, and let's suppose that we want to add an assignment. We give the assignment name. We'll use it with rubric 1. And the description of this assignment. Write an essay. Then directly after the general block in the setting, you will find the grading block. Grade. Define the grading method, its points, and give the maximum points. It's 100 here. Then the grading method. From the grading method, I will choose rubric. I'm here choosing the rubric advanced grading tool. Leave the grade category because we have no categories for grades. Blind marking. This is a feature to mark students blindly without showing their identities. Say yes. Use marking workflow. This feature enables the marker to filter submissions of the activity according to the level of marking process they have gone through. I'll not be using this, or okay, we will enable it to see how it will look like. Use marking allocation. This feature helps the instructor to define other markers for part of the submission or filter submissions according to the person who is marking. Let's say yes. Then save and display, which will take you automatically to the rubric defining page. Defining the rubric for an activity. In the rubric defining page, you either use an old one to modify or build a new one from scratch. Let's start a new grading from scratch. Give your new rubric a name and description in a way that helps you identifying it later among other rubrics. And let's call it rubric 1. And let's describe it like rubric 1 for assignment 1. Building a reliable rubric structure in Moodle using the rubric tool. After giving the name and the description, we go to the rubric table to build the rubric. The first column has the criteria and the other columns shows the different levels of each criterion. You may add or limit the structure of your rubric as you like. And let us build a simple example for a rubric, and it will be used to grade an essay assignment. So let's give the first criterion, let's say spelling, for example, and the levels are from the 0 to 2. Let's say lots of spelling mistakes, some spelling mistakes, no spelling mistakes. And we may add another criterion saying like logic, for example, no logic at all, some logic, logical. And we may add a third one, which is the structure, for example. And let's say that we want to add another level here. There will be 4 levels saying well structured. Note: rubric are one of the advanced educational evaluating methods. It has its rules and conditions to be built and used. Please review any specialized educational resource for deeper information. This is only an example of a quick rubric structure. Let's go now for the rubric options. You may define the controls over your rubric and elements to be shown or not for your students from rubric options. And the options, as they are clear here, allow users to preview rubric used in the Moodle, display rubric description during evaluation, display rubric description to those being grading, display points for each level, display points for each level to those being graded, allow grader to add text remarks for each criterion, show remarks to those being graded. Then save and make it ready. After finishing setting the rubric, it will appear ready like this with all other rubrics you will define in the future. So this is the rubric we defined just right now in our assignment. Using rubric, student view side of an activity with a rubric grading tool. Now comes the role of the student to do the assignment, and here it shows the assignment with the options that teacher gave for the student or enabled. Some of the features were enabled in the activity options, like the attempts grade showing the rubric, and some of the options were enabled in the rubric tool, like showing the rubric and the points. Let's add the submission. As a student, I will add a submission. The submission here is a file, so let's upload a file. And let's suppose that this is the file, and we will save it as assignment 1. Upload this file and save changes. Now the assignment is submitted, and it's the role for the teacher to give grades for this assignment. Using rubric, teacher side of rubric view. Now comes the role for the teacher to start grading the assignment supplied with the rubric tool. In the assignment submission area, you'll find the rubric, you'll find the assignment status and the rubric itself, and click on view or grade all submissions. Here he will find all of the submissions submitted by students, and let's suppose that we are grading this submission for this student, the one example I made just right now. Here is the Word file, and from here, from the grade column, I could edit the grade. So I click on the icon here. I will see the status for the student, submitted for grading, not graded, and here is the Word file. I may open this Word file and read it, then come back here to give the grade. The teacher chooses the levels. The teacher chooses the level of each criterion he gave. So let's suppose that I'm giving 1 point here, 2 points here, 3 points here, and I'm writing feedback on every criterion, saying good, very good, very good. There are some options enabled with the rubric, and some of them enabled from the activity itself, like the marking workflow. Now because I've finished marking this one, I might say released. So I'm releasing the whole grade for student. I might say in marking completed, in review, ready for release, but I've finished and it's released. I might allocate it for a marker, one of the teachers marking, and I give the general feedback, and I am notifying the student that his grade is ready, and I save changes. Continue. Those grades will be directly migrated to the student gradebook automatically, along with all other grades, with the ability to modify them through the rubric again or manually. That's it for this lesson. See you in another lesson.